Welcome back. We are back at Agent Tactics. It's another Thursday, and my guest is somebody who has been heavy in the video world in real estate. You all know him as Bob Tompkins. He's the Country Town Road Realtor. He's done all of these amazing videos. My favorite video is one that he recently did, and I'm going to share that one with you here in a moment as well. So. Bob Tompkins, formerly of Remax, has a tattoo of the Remax balloon on his thigh. Now at Real. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's not say now at Real. I've been here for like 5 years
Yeah,
almost.
of course, of
So,
course.
so I
But
mean,
now,
I
since
do have a
having a
Remax tattoo.
tattoo on your thigh, yeah, yeah.
If I could give a piece of advice, don't ever let your first big video go viral because apparently it defines the rest of your career. And I'm the
Yeah.
old influencer forever. But you know, I'm glad to be here, Jeremy. It's always a pleasure to spend time and spend time with people and talk about what we do.
Well, I think it's, the reason why I think that video went so viral and why you've had so much success, especially in the video content, is something that I am just not good at, and that's creativity, right? You're very creative. You come up with really, really good ideas, and you continue to come up with good ideas. So if you're going to make your first video viral, you better be able to come up with really good content. So that's why we're here today.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Now that I've said all those nice things about you, here's all the things that I have issues with. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, let's get into it. All right. For the biggest question I usually get with realtors is you're so creative, and I don't know why they say that about me, but you're so creative. I can't do that. I can't come up with content. Where do you think agents should really start looking for content ideas, and how do you think they should start coming up with content to grow not only a following, but to actually get business? I think we see everybody make all this content, but then you got to get business from it at some point too.
Yeah, okay. So loaded question. Thanks.
Lots to unpack
Lots
there.
to unpack there. So the first thing that I'll say, because I think that this is an important frame, the when we talk about creativity, because you get it, I get it. Anybody that creates a lot of content gets it. This like this, oh, I don't like I'm not that creative. And I always say like creativity first and foremost is a muscle. So like you're Jeremy continues to come up with more and more ideas about how to talk about Austin because he is consistently creating videos about Austin. He lives in that world. He reads on that stuff. He does that stuff. So like if you look at the very first videos he would have ever done talking about Austin, they would not have been nearly as good or as resourceful as they are today. Where the same thing goes for me if you look at some of the like funny stuff that I've done, 5 years ago to the stuff that I do today, the creativity level is much higher. But that's because that I've spent so much time in that. My brain is constantly on that. Um, it's just like somebody that's a mom on day one has no clue what they're doing, but a mom on day 1000 has a little bit better idea of what they're doing. So like it's the same thing. So the more that we can work that creative muscle, the more we can work on content, the better we're going to get at it. That simply requires dedicating time and acting and actually doing the work, acting on the things. So first and foremost, there's that. Second part of the question is how do we do that in a way that actually converts to business?
Yep.
Right, Jim? So, I mean, a lot of this is trial and error. Like, so for me, again, I'll use me and Jeremy as like different examples of this. If you look at Jeremy, the first times that he was creating stuff about Austin, he would have learned over having done things for 2 to 3 months. Oh, this isn't producing the result that I want. I need to do something else. One of the things that we do a lot with like the more comedy stuff is we A/B test things. It's like we'll test a certain style of comedy. If it goes well, then we're like, okay, this is actually creating conversation. People are talking about it. Just for frame of reference for everybody here, like the comedy stuff that I do is definitely more of a attraction piece for bringing agents to my team and agents to the brokerage. Now, that is because I'm just at that point in my career. 4 years ago, the comedy stuff that I did was very much geared towards um, clientele or to potential referrals. So, you have to know your audience and what you're creating it for. But we test things. So I have the unfortunate circumstance of the stuff that tests the best, the brokerage doesn't always love. So it's like I have to deal with that. But like we A/B test stuff, the things that create the most conversations are then the things that we do more of. So like what I see realtors make a lot of mistakes, and especially in the content world, is they will begin doing something that isn't producing a result, but they will never change it. Like if something is working, the phrase like if it ain't broke, don't fix it absolutely applies. You continue to do the thing that works, and maybe you can layer in some other strategies. But if something's not working, too many people stick to it or they just quit altogether as opposed to trying to layer in or test other potential pieces of content or layer in different call to actions and that sort of thing. So, does that fully answer that question?
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, like at what point though, like if you're making content, at what point do you go, you know what, this isn't working? And what point do you go, okay, a small tweak in this is going to make a difference? And why I ask that question is I get a lot of people asking me about YouTube and real estate, right? Steph's on here. She's got a YouTube channel. She's growing a YouTube channel. A lot of people ask me about YouTube, and I have to say there was 3 years where I was making content and it was okay. I wouldn't say it sucked, but it was okay. And it wasn't really getting the results I was looking for. And it was one small tweak in consistency and it took off. So at what point do you go, you know what, this just is not working? What's the tweak I need to make?
So I mean, obviously every platform is going to be a little different. So like Jeremy going 3 years on YouTube, I mean, it's too long. You should have changed quicker. But the thing is YouTube's one of those platforms where you have to play something out for 6 months to 12 months before you can really know if the strategy that you're implementing is working. That's why you see a lot of like copy and paste or rip off and duplicate within the YouTube world, because once somebody has proven a strategy, it's like we don't want to try and reinvent the wheel because the wheel takes a long time to invent on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, versus like on your shorter form platforms, like pretty quick. So like you have to know the platform. But I would say like if you're on YouTube, it's like somewhere between 6 to 12 months if you are not getting any traction or things are not going the way that they need to go. Like that's when you need to bring if you can't see it yourself, you need to bring somebody in to kind of take a look, audit some things with you, give you some pointers. You need to start trying some different call to actions or a different level of consistency, like Jeremy did. Like you've got to start trying a few different things after about 6 to 12 months if you're not producing the results that you want. With shorter form content, I mean, like you're gonna know pretty quick. Like it's funny to me, but like I used to think, okay, we just like do this consistently long enough this is going to work on short form. But what I learned about short form is that if it's good content, it goes because the way your TikToks, your Instagrams, the way they roll out content is they put it in front of beta groups. Essentially, they put it in front of like 400, 500 people, and they see, let's see how this does. And if the analytics are trash, then they're like, we're not showing this to anybody else. So like you can, if you try something, you can try 3 videos, and if you see none of those are working, then the content's not good, and you need to try something else. You need to shorten, you need to tighten hooks, you need to not call to action until the end of the video. Like you need to move stuff around. You need to be more engaging. I mean, it depends for every individual, but you can find out pretty quick. So for us, like we've kind of if we try a new style of like comedy and we get 2 or 3 videos in a row and it's not really really working, we're gonna trash like that concept and say we're not doing that anymore because it's not working the way it needs to.
Real quick in the comment section, do me a favor, just so I make sure that we're covering the areas you want to cover. What areas do you want to hear from Bob the most? Instagram, TikTok, short, long, um, how to trim your beard to look so handsome, any of those things. Christy, she was typing it. Look, I can see Christy's face. She was absolutely typing that right now. She was like, I got to get Meryl to get that beard going again. Uh, uh, Meryl Jinks, handsome guy, by the way. All right, so you've been doing this a while. I'm curious, what made you at the beginning say Facebook was the way to go? Because I remember we went back and forth on this a long time ago. You were like, Facebook's the way to go. I said long form YouTube was the way to go. Turns out we were both semi right and semi wrong at the same time. How do you know which content route you should go? What's best for you?
Yeah, no. So this just depends. Like when I go back to 2019, this was me and Jeremy met virtually, and we would
Yeah.
argue about TikTok or I mean YouTube or Facebook. And the difference was that Facebook is very sphere of influence based. So because the people that knew me liked me, Facebook worked really well for me. For Jeremy, people that knew him didn't really like him very much. So he had to go places that people didn't know him, which was YouTube. He had to find a new audience. I say that jokingly, but it's layered in truth, which is why it's funny. The thing is that Facebook is very much sphere marketing. So for me, I live in a small town. Like Anderson, South Carolina has 27,000 residents. Small. So for me, like Facebook, very easy for me to market to the entire population, or not the entire, but like a third to a half of the Anderson population just by showing up and being present on Facebook. I kind of become like a local mayor or celebrity or whatever. I hate that word celebrity, but it is true. I can't go to the grocery store without having like four conversations. So that's why my wife is at the grocery store right now, and I agreed to be here. So Jeremy, on the other hand, like with YouTube, if you're trying to reach a new audience, and Austin being such a big town, like there's a ton of potential business that exists there. And I think that that's part of the reason we butted heads on it because it was like Jeremy's looking at it, it's like the opportunity in my town is people I don't know. Like that's where
Yeah.
all the business is. Where for me, like I had bartended before I got my real estate license. So like I already knew a lot of people around town and I viewed it that like, hey, my opportunity is the people that I already know. Um, and in 2016 to 2019, the early part of my career, South Carolina was growing, but not at the rate that it did once kind of like COVID hit. So,
Yeah.
like, once that started, my philosophy on things started to change, which was like, oh no, I need to go where the consumer is that I don't know yet, because that's, in all honesty, that's where the money was, because it was people that are moving from other places that have money and they're investing in the state, and people that are from here don't have that type of cash. So, a lot of it is like, it, this sounds like too basic of an answer, but this is at the root of it is knowing the different platforms and how they serve you. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to be on Facebook. But then they're creating content that is for somebody moving there. Like it's not for somebody that already lives there or that already knows you. And then it doesn't work because you've got good content and you've got a good audience, but you're bringing the wrong content to the wrong audience. So it's like it doesn't matter that you have an audience that would transact with you, and it doesn't matter that you have a message that would convert. You're just putting it in front of the wrong people. And that's part of the reason me and Jeremy would have disputes back then, was because I was creating the right content for the right audience. He was creating the right content for the right audience, but neither of our content would have worked for the other person's audience. So it's
Yeah.
so like that's we just didn't see what the other person was doing. But I'd say you have to know. I mean, any of these platforms work, and that's what I've essentially come to. It's like it could be TikTok, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be YouTube. It's an evaluation of your own business and where does the majority of your business come from? Where do you want your business to come from? And then how do you market to that as opposed to just trying to do what other people are doing?
Mm, I love that. Yeah, I mean the talking head style that I've been doing is transformed right into this short form about, that Katie's doing. Bill, I will be completely honest, I took from Bill. Now there's like 100 realtors in Austin literally doing the same thing. So it's like, I don't even want to do this style anymore because everybody's doing it. So might as well be change it and create something myself. The question I have for you next is actually from Michael. Good question here. And this kind of leads right into that. What are your thoughts around using AI avatars and scripting versus being authentic for better or worse?
Depends. It depends. So I would say right now we do nothing AI. So can I give you full spectrum on us? Like I have the comedy content that I put out. This is what people are going to see on my personal Instagram and on the That's Real Estate Instagram that we have. We also have Living in SC Instagram and TikTok pages. TikTok's doing well. Instagram's kind of struggling a little bit to get going, but we're doing that like green screen type of content that a lot of that's what your Bill Olsons, your Jeremys have done. And then we also have a YouTube channel, which I have gotten myself off of, and TJ, who is uh, he's our videographer, but he's really more of like a content specialist for the team. He actually creates that content. He's the one that's on camera for it. So we use like all of the different platforms in different ways. Um, for us, we have not introduced AI. I will say, have you had Josh Rogers on here? Okay, so Josh Rogers is in Jacksonville. He is using AI avatars for his green screen videos. I am very tempted to begin doing that because when you watch those, because you have the green screen person pulled down into the corner, it's a lot harder to tell that it is AI. I don't like AI for scripting. I like it for like, but I love it for outlines. So, because if I'm kind of hitting writer's block, I'm like, hey, like I need ideas. I need ideas. I need prompts. I need like what's going on. What do I not know about? I don't want to spend an hour reading the news. Like, you know, you build your AI to be able to like find stuff like that. Especially, I mean, chat just keeps getting better too. So it's like it can find the newest articles and the things that are going on to where it just removes that process for me. At the end of the day, I want it to be my voice. But that also is a decision that leads to a little bit more time on my part being put in. So there's different perspectives. I'm not a super like, I believe quantity of content is very important, but I also think quality is very important. So like for us, we're not going to be the person that's putting out 5 pieces of content every single day because I'm like, I am not putting enough thought into each individual piece of content if we're doing that much. But at the same time, like you're not going to see us only do like 1 piece of content a week because that you're not relevant enough if you're only doing it if you're only putting out 1 piece of content a week. So I like to use AI as the tool to help me do more, but I still try and keep it authentic as much as I can. So
Yeah, I'm with you. So, I mean, right now I use chat to put together my scripts, and sometimes I'll get the scripts and I'll read them, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of like doing the video. I'm like, oh, this script sucks. I'll go back and read the article and literally start reading the script and then like adding my own voice into it. Um, and then, when I was talking, Katie, the at Summit was talking about, they had her on stage and she was talking about using HeyGen. I immediately knew which video was not her, right? And it's just because I've talked to Katie in some capacity, but I could see where people would not know the difference. Um, I asked her about it. Obviously we get the luxury of knowing Katie quite well. And so I asked her about it. I was like, hey, what is the time difference? What is the time saved doing the Hey Gen versus doing, and she's like, I had to be honest, like I would rather just shoot the videos because the amount of time editing ends up becoming about the same, if not longer using Hey Gen. She's like, so I might as well just shoot it and not do the Hey Gen part. So, I mean, that's something to think about because my process for doing those, I'll have like 15 scripts and literally I'll just hit record, bang, 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 upload them. My guy has the scripts, my other girl has the other stuff. And so they're doing it all. So it's like the same thing as AI doing. Is it costing me more? Sure. But guess what? Those are deductions. So
yeah.
yeah. Many people want to do content and they think, but I am not funny. Oh, this is definitely Christy. What if you feel like you are not funny and you cannot still be effective?
So I mean, I would say, all right, this is a question that I like, but I also don't like because it's funny is relative. Like what people think is funny is relative. So it's like the only reason I know I'm funny is because I put myself out there and the public told me if I was or I wasn't. So it's like it's like I think I was funny. I was like, I think I'm funny. My wife laughs at me sometimes. So I was like, I think I'm funny. And it's the thing is, for some people, it's like comedy content is not for them. Like some people, it just doesn't work. I would say if it's something you want to try, I would say you should try it and see what the reception is. If the reception is bad, it's like, all right, cool, not doing that. I I think that's part of the reason when we look at like the different forms of content to where you can go to long form, more educational, more informative. You can do the green screens, you can be that kind of, that bringer of the news, kind of journalist type. And you don't have to be funny in those. Actually, we have a guy that's on that's a part of our Living in SC collective, and he is his name's Todd Davis, and not Todd Davis, Todd Ford. Todd Davis is a client of mine. Todd Ford, and he is not funny. Like he's very deadpan, he's very serious. And oh, that's crazy. He texted me right as I said his name. So I was like, oh no, is he listening to this? He's not listening to this. Thank God. So Todd Ford, he's not funny. But he's very deadpan, and he crushes on our green screen stuff better than anybody else because it's like he has this very neutral tone as he talks about different things. So when people watch him, they don't there's no perceived bias. They're like, oh, like he's literally just telling me, so it allows for people to have like conflict in the comments because some people will think that he's agreeing with them. The other side of the whatever it is will also think that he's agreeing with them, or and then they'll start going back and forth in the comments. So that neutrality can be very powerful too. So it's like if your approach is like, hey, look, I don't think I'm that funny, it's like then don't go for funny content. It's like just because I do funny content doesn't mean everybody in the world needs to do funny content. You know,
What I have a question. There's a video I want to share. Is this the content that us realtors should be making? Here, it's this one right here. I love this. That's the shot. Yeah. There she
yeah,
goes.
I'm glad the sound's not up that high, so you just see me walking away in a dress.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Thanks.
there's so many different people making content these days, and when I saw the original video of that, my initial reaction was like, well, if a guy did that, it wouldn't, yeah. And then so we had a text, then you created that video. So I'm not disparaging this person by any means. Christy, she's in your market. Gail, I think she's in your market too. But where do we cross the line from like content that is good for us as real estate agents and isn't good for us as real estate agents? Because I guess the thing is, all publicity is good publicity, I guess. But um, that I think this is where I struggle when I see some stuff like videos like that, not the one you did, but mocking it, right?
Yeah.
There's other people that have done other content that I'm like, eek, like the people that are making that content where they're just trashing that you did a video about it too, like, or they're just trashing their clients. Like this is where your wife is going to cheat on you in the house, right? Like crazy stuff like that. Is that the content that we should be moving for? Yeah, that's all I can see. I can't unsee it now. I don't want to anybody. You can go find Bob's Instagram and watch it for yourself. I'm not going to share that one. But where do we like where is the line on content we should create and shouldn't create? Like those videos that say free market analysis, right? If you didn't cut off the left part of that, or that could lead to some questions. So.
Yeah, I mean, we did that too. We had that one with TJ.
Oh, I know.
I'm not in it on purpose, but yeah, no, here's the thing. So to answer the question about the girl that's in Gilbert that did that,
yeah,
I don't. This is my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. I am very much a all publicity is good publicity person. I am
yeah,
very much a any type of content can work to get you clientele. It would not surprise me if, as a result of some of that girl's marketing tactics, she ends up with more business than she had before.
yeah,
However, she is putting herself in a position to be objectified and probably put in more dangerous positions as a result of that marketing. She needs to understand the risk of that And if she's comfortable with the risk, that's on her.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will create content without thinking about what could be the byproduct of this. Like, so for me, whenever we create any of these pieces of content, I know I might get a phone call from Real that's like, hey, we don't love this one. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to think about that, like, because I like as agents, it can be very easy to fall into that rabbit hole of like, oh, they're giving realtors a bad name, da 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 da. Da. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
realtors have given themselves a bad name for 100 years. So like, get over it. We're going to continue to give ourselves a bad name. That's always going to happen. And there's no amount of policing it that's going to stop it because NAR right now, they could be policing it, but what are they doing? They're telling everybody that has the word realtor in their Instagram bio to take it out or out of their handle to take it down. So like NAR doesn't focus on the right things without getting too far into my soapbox. The thing is like we can create any type of content that, and if it converts, it converts. But the thing is there's going to be risk that's involved in it. We are all going to be we're going to be much safer by creating like educational type of content, stuff that informs the client. But we've got to do it in the hard part with that is that that stuff's normally not that engaging. So it has to be done in a way that you have to distribute it in a way and on a platform that allows you to be successful. And the thing is a lot of people that create edgier content are looking for a quicker result. And I know that sounds funny coming from somebody that creates edgier content. It's like, but they are. I mean, they're looking for a quicker result. They're looking to try like shock their shock value, trying to grow a following.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say 97% of agents that create content like that, or like even like me, are more focused on like being famous than they are like selling houses and informing the client. You know,
Yeah. Steph, that's actually a great question. I want to pivot to Christy. She's about to jump out of here. Christy, you coach a lot of clients, a lot of agents. You mentor a lot of agents. What content do you think agents should stay away from, and what content should they push into?
Well, I actually agree with Bob here on a lot of things that he's saying. Um, it's interesting because I am like, we don't need another hot girl video, hot guy video. I don't want to see real estate agents dancing on a counter, twerking on a counter. Like I get annoyed with that type of content. I love the comical satire and the fun, engaging ones. I think those are great. I don't like bashing our clients. I don't like bashing the homes, but that's my personal preference and it doesn't work for me. If that was part of my personality and what the crowd that I was trying to draw, I could see producing content like that. But I think I get on a high horse of like, that just makes us all look like idiots. And that's why I don't like that content because I think that that you can be funny, you can be educational, you can be effective without making our industry look bad. But to his point, we've all done that for years and now
Yeah.
we're just having to live through it. So I'll leave with this. I think that you should do what he said. Is this what I'm trying to portray? And can I handle the outcomes? Right? Like, am I going to be okay if I lose people or gain people? You could say, I don't want to work with people who, don't appreciate my comedic style. Okay, cool. Then you just lean into that and know that you are alienating a certain crowd of people. So as long as you can live with the fallout or the gain of the content that you're creating, then you're probably doing what's right by you.
I I agree. It sounded better coming from you than Bob for some
it
reason,
did.
but I love you, Bob. All right, let's answer this question Steph wrote here because thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. This is, by the way, Coach Christie's my coach. I love her to death. If you're at Tom Ferry and you're looking for the best coach, she may not be taking on agents right now, but if you pester her enough, one day she may. So, Steph, I love your question here. So, if you're not funny, and you don't want to copy Jeremy or tour homes like every agent, how do you stand out in the crowd? Great question. I think this is the best question so far. Not the other questions were bad, but this is a good question.
So if you're not Bob, if you're not Jeremy, and you don't want to do home tours, what do you do? So
POVs. There you go.
um, so I mean, I think a lot of people they think about. I'm gonna broaden this to just like content in general and video. Because when I think about content, I kind of put this as a frame for what I'm about to say. When I think about content, I think about one to many. I'm trying to talk to many people with one message because I'm trying to reduce the amount of one-to-ones that I have to have because one-to-one conversations are time consuming. And if I'm only going to convert a certain percentage of them, I have to have a ton of these conversations to produce the income that I want to produce. So the more one-to-many conversations that I can have, if I'm able to convert at a similar clip, percentage-wise, I'm going to make more money. So I'll give you an example of something we do within living in SC. So we have a farming strategy, and I know this may seem way off base, but we have a farming strategy where quarterly I film. I wish I had one down here in the office so I could show you, but I film once a quarter. I'll film a market update for the neighborhood that I live in. Now I have a small neighborhood; it's like 110 homes. So I'll film a update for those 110 homes, which is like, hey, here's what sold in the last quarter. Here's the days on market, average price per square foot, the list of sold price ratio, all of that stuff. We put that as an unlisted video on YouTube. It's very data driven. So it's very data driven. We put it as an unlisted video on YouTube. We have a QR code that links to it. We then put that QR code on door hangers. We go and knock the neighborhood. So what I'm doing is I'm reducing that conversation at the door to like, hey, just want to provide you with a little update on what's going on with pricing in the neighborhood. You know, you can scan the QR code, watch the video. If you have any questions, my contact information is there. I move on because I'm not trying to sit here and have 10, 15-minute conversation because that kills my productivity. So I'm trying to just get them the information and move on. You know, 90% of people aren't answering the door, so the door hanger just goes on the door. They get it when they get home. Maybe they scan the QR code. But once a month, we're filming that. We're going around and talking to them. That strategy allows me to essentially have the same conversation of providing the data 110 times for one time filmed. It's not a sexy way of doing anything because it's not public. It's not it's not publicly on social media, but it's using content as like the conduit to that conversation. So then we're laying all those out. We're doing that once a quarter. Essentially what ends up happening is we become that, I mean, this is farming 101. It's like we become the expert of the neighborhood to the people that are here instead of them defaulting to like Zillow. Also, with that strategy, we blow like mailers out of the water because people that are just sending mailers, there's no face. They're not hearing somebody's voice. A lot of times those mailers just end up in the trash anyways. And a good mailer conversion is like, you know, like if you can get 1%, you're crushing it, you know? Versus in our neighborhood in the last 12 months, we've had 38% of the transactions that have happened in the last 12 months. So like, you know, that process has worked really well for us, but it's saying like, I wouldn't necessarily say, how do I stand out from the crowd? Because standing out from the crowd is like the wrong question to answer. The question is, where is the customer not being served? And the reason like Jeremy's been successful, I'm going to go to YouTube and not the green screens. The reason Jeremy's been successful on YouTube is because there's a gap in the market to where the consumer's not being served with information on Austin. So Jeremy fills the gap and supplies them with information on Austin. And then he's successful. Where I've been successful, I mean, and this is in terms of agent attraction, the comedy content has worked really well for me in terms of agent attraction because there's not a lot of comedy for real estate agents, but there's over 1 million real estate agents. So there's a huge gap in the marketplace for people that want to have work-related humor, and the best that we get is memes from the broke agent. And it's like, there's too much sketch comedy and there's too much opportunity there. And every now and again, somebody will create something and it'll pop off. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really serve their business because like they're not monetizing on agents anyways. So like for me, it allowed me to step in and say, hey, I can fit a gap that's in the market. I can serve that gap. And then the result is the result. Where you can look at the consumer and say, what are they? Oh, what are we showing now?
No, no, I want to show your point here. So I hit share too early. Continue. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So like when we look at like the consumer in your neighborhood, and this is where the farming strategy comes from. It's like where are they being? What's the biggest point of disservice? And it's like when we had sat down for listing appointments in our neighborhood, the thing that we were running into, and this is probably everybody on the call, is everybody was always like, well, Zillow says my house is worth this. And the fact is that like Zillow's only right like a third of the time. So the other 2/3 of the time, we're either having to tell them like, hey, it's worth more, which is never a hard conversation, or like, hey, it's worth less than you think. Well, the 35 to 50% of the time it's less than they think, that becomes a very difficult conversation. And the reason it's a difficult conversation is because they have been poorly served leading up to that conversation.
Yeah.
They've had bad information leading up to that conversation. So if you can identify the places that there are gaps in the consumer's world and then say, how do I fill those gaps? Sometimes that could be on a TikTok or YouTube or Facebook, but a lot of times the answer is a lot closer to us than that. But we're more concerned about standing out from the crowd. It's like, and I know like coming from me, that can sound funny because it's like Bob seems to stand out from the crowd, and it's like it's a byproduct of me giving or filling that gap. That's why I stand out from the crowd, to where you just have to identify where can you stand out, and if that is, or identify where the consumer needs that need, and then when you fill it, you will stand out within that community, whether that's a social media platform or if it's in like a subdivision.
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to break down what you said here I think are really important. You're making the content stuff that's to the audience that you want to attract is ideal, right? And I wanted to show your Instagram here. This Instagram is not for consumers. It is and it isn't, but it's not for consumers, for buyers and sellers. It's aimed a little more at real estate agents, right? Because real estate translation terms, every agent that hears the terms that they say on here are going, yep, that's exactly what that means. Yep, I've been there. This is kind of poking fun at what real estate agents do. This is not necessarily geared towards buyers and sellers. I mean, a buyer and seller may see it and go, okay, that guy's pretty funny. I want to work with him. So yes, it may hit that mark, but that's not the full intention of that channel. And when you see my talking head stuff with the three things and talking about Austin, just know if you go ask a majority of the people that are making that content, give me the exact number of business deals you've got from that, you're gonna get a very fuzzy answer from each person, right? I can tell you how much business we've gotten from the YouTube channel, and that's because that's something that's trackable. Instagram can be a little bit different because if you got a DM and it leads to, I get tons of DMs, but some of them haven't led anywhere. I can tell you from that vertical thing, I get recognized a lot and creates a lot of like literally my dentist yesterday's like, you're the real Jeremy Knight. Oh my God, I love the content, right? But does that mean that guy ever reached out to me to buy or sell a home? No, right? So Instagram's a little bit fuzzier on that. So I want to make a big point here. A lot of us go after the views and look at the views, and views are highly important, but views do not mean conversion every time. Bob's first video that went super viral, Old Town Road, can you say that got me X amount of pieces or that create a lot more conversations for other content?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I know is I know I got a referral the next day.
Perfect. See?
But so I know there's one deal.
But that was from a agent, not from a
It was
consumer.
from an agent, not from a
Say,
consumer. But I had a lot of consumers talk about it, but
sure.
I don't know if that video is what did it. Like, in all honesty, if I had only done that video, I probably wouldn't have, because
Right.
it wouldn't have converted anything, because they would have forgot about me a week later.
And I think this is the important piece that a lot of us miss. Yes, whatever content style you go after, it is a consistency involved in that content style that'll end up driving business, right? I've been doing that vertical thing for since really about the same time Katie has, and we've closed, I can say, at least 4 deals and opened up a lot of conversations. People that we've worked with and we've referred off because we've moved to a referral model on our team. A lot of them will quote, "Oh, the real Jeremy Knight." So can I say it directly came from Instagram? Like got a DM, it closed. I can say 4. Did it open up conversations? Did it talk about the other content? Has it opened up other doors? 100%. It's opened up a lot of doors for us and our team. So I think it's really important to look at that too, is as you're making content, what content will actually put dollars in my pocket? That is the biggest piece because you can see somebody with hundreds of thousands of views. Like there's a girl, Austin Sells Austin. That's her name. She's got, I think, 150,000 followers on Instagram. I talk to her all the time. Sweet girl, really like her a lot. And I've asked her several times, like, hey, you've got 100,000 followers. Like, what, like, how many? She's like, I can't really tell you how many deals I've gotten from Instagram. A few. So just know that the views and that maybe not be the best thing. So what Bob's talking about is like, okay, I have a plan beyond that, right? So the plan being like what Bill does is, do I have an email list that goes with it? Right? Hey, hit this and get on the email list. And in the email list, that's where you're really hitting people on the tactic on, okay, now they're on the email list, now they're going to see me. Because I can tell you the people from my database, once they get in my database, that's where the conversion happens the most. But I can't tell directly if they come from Instagram or do they come in from YouTube, if that makes sense. Now I should be able to tracking that better, but does that help Steph at all, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's just speaking to your audience and, bringing that value. I guess it was more or less like not that I like want to copy you or I don't want to do home tours. I feel like
Yeah.
it's like everybody does the news or everybody does home tours.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying to find not ways to like stick out, but like I guess for me, it's probably just I love doing the news stuff, but I do it more like in my area, and there's not a lot of
Yeah.
people
Then
that are
then
in my
focus on that.
yeah.
I think that's the thing too, is like Shannon Mangan, I'll pull up hers in just a second. Shannon Mangan doesn't do my style, doesn't do home tours. She'll talk about client wins. And maybe I can pull up a video here in a second where she's talked about client wins, but it's not like I got this client a massive deal. It's the client, the phone call, the initial phone call. It's the story of the whole thing. And that's powerful. And she only makes content on her YouTube channel about Dripping Springs, Westlake, not Westlake, Lakeway, and Bee Cave, right?
Mm.
Super West Austin, not West Austin, super West Austin, right? And every time I talk, she's like, "Oh my God, Jeremy, this year already just from YouTube, I'm at now 300,000 GCI. Now I'm at 315 GCI." So, um, I would focus on the areas that you really want to work because you're South Austin, right? Do you really want to go work up in Leander? Do you really want to go up to Cedar Park? Do you really want to go to Liberty Hill? Yeah, there's some cool price points on it, but if you can get business out of '04, get stuff close by on the east side, Southeast Austin, or out towards me in Dripping Springs, Circle C, I would rather be south of the river all day versus driving all the way up to Leander and just referring that stuff off.
Yeah, I
So,
totally agree.
what else you got, Bob?
Well, no, you said you were going to ask me questions for an hour.
No,
So
man,
you
I
want
like to, sometimes I find that if I shut up and let Bob talk, I learn something. So,
Oh, well, thanks. So I mean, one of the thoughts that I had, I mean, this is kind of going into like that, and I know we're not here to talk about a farming strategy, but like that particular thing, it's when we think about like how do we stand out, how do we get in front of people? There's we all know, or I would assume we all know, like Alex Hormozy, especially since Sharon now runs this company. So like Hormozy has this quote, or I'm going to butcher the quote. So I'm just going to summarize the idea. The idea being like um, if you like show up and you build something, you work on something for a long period of time, and then you talk about it, a lot of people get it out of order. They try and they don't want to work really hard and do something. They just want to be relevant and talk about things and be online. But you have no stack of evidence, no stack of proof to the stuff that you're talking about if you haven't done the things first. So where it can be and this can sound funny coming from somebody that creates content, but the the things that are proven methods to be able to establish your business are we look at content as a way to expedite stuff. We can fold content into all of the old tactics that exist. But if we can have more conversations with more people, if we can know more about what's going on, we're going to be set up to be able to go online and talk about it. And probably one of the best at this, he's not with Real, but his name's Matt Laracy. He's up in Chicago. And he runs Laracy. Jeremy, do you know him? You know him? You don't. So he's phenomenal.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh, yeah, no. I know who he is. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so they sell a ton of real estate. But then what he does from a content perspective is a lot of it's just him talking about what's going it's Chicago what's going on in Chicago real estate and what's going on in the city and what's impacting real estate market. But he's worked so hard to just do the transactions that then he can come out and say hey, here's what I'm talking about. Here's the conversations we're having with clients. Here's what people are saying about downtown. Here's what's going on here. And it's essentially from the horse's mouth because he's I'm talking to the people every single day and people trust him because he's transacting. The thing is that a lot of times people will focus on well, how do I get content that gets me business? Because we, for some reason, view that content is the easy way to get business. Jeremy will tell you it's effective. It's not in any way, shape, or form easy. Creating content consistently over time is very difficult. The same thing with just making yourself have conversations with people. But when you have conversations with people, that it gives you source material to then be able to talk. And that's when we talk about Shannon Mansion talking client stories. The reason she's able to talk about client stories is because she's procuring clients. But then it becomes a snowball because she's talking about client experiences and client stories. More people then start reaching out to her, which then builds her client pool. So I mean, it sounds funny, but it's if you can reduce it down to saying, how can I stand out in a group of 100 people instead of trying to stand out against other real estate agents? You're going to find yourself in the latter category. It was easier for me once I started creating funny I got licensed in 2016. I started creating funny videos in 2019. I didn't even create video for my business until 2019. I was already making six figures when I started making video. So it became a lot easier to create the content because just so we know, six figures in the boonies of South Carolina pre-COVID, really hard to make in real estate. So I was already doing that. I was already moving 30 units a year to where it was I had source material to be able to come in and say, oh, I can talk about X, Y, and Z. I can talk about this and that and the other. And that, I know that's probably not the message most people want to hear, but it's if you can go to just focusing on the database that you have, the sphere of influence that you have, providing them with as much value and filling the consumer gaps that they have to where you can close more transactions, that's going to give you the material to create more content with. Unless you're doing the news stuff, the news creates its own content. So that's easier to do. And I know that's a rant, but Jeremy told me to say whatever I wanted to say. So
yeah, no, I like it. What other questions we got? Gail, I see you in here. Melody, what other questions we got? What else we got in here? I gotta change screen here. Oh, Karen, I can see you. See, if I see you, I'm gonna say your name. All of you people that I can't see, Carrie, April, Tammy, Christina, hi, good to see you. But what are the questions we got for the legendary Bob Tompkins? You can go ahead and unmute and ask. Oh, Michael, I see you now. Nothing. Scared.
Nothing. That means I answered all the questions.
Yeah. I have a really good question while people are thinking of good questions to ask you. How do you maintain such a beautiful beard? Is it beard oils?
No, it's just all natural, pure
All
testosterone.
natural?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got like
No.
a little shaving kit? Because I can't get past this
So you
before
see
like shit
this?
looking bad.
You see this?
Yeah.
My barber cuts it every 3 weeks, and then I'm too lazy. So then I don't touch it for 3 weeks. And
Oh,
it's just good lighting
good
is what
lighting. Okay. All right. I
uh,
mean,
if I sent you a selfie up close on the phone, it would look gnarly. But this is just knowing how to use a camera.
in those baby
Make
blues, you
sure
wearing contacts or what's going on with
no,
those
no, no.
baby blues?
I have perfect vision.
Okay, perfect.
For those of you just be jealous, I got it from my father.
All right. Now that we're through that uh gay old time, what else have we got? Who's got questions?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bob, you had talked about the time it's taking to talk to so many people,
Yeah.
and maybe I missed it, but like if you've got the people reaching out to you and everybody's now wanting to talk to you, how are you removing yourself from being the one who they need to call and talk to and moving
Mm.
that over to somebody else because they see you and they're like, I'm getting text and calls all day and they're leaving messages like, oh, just I got a real simple question. It won't take but 15 minutes. Just give me a call back. And I've never spoke to them. I mean, I'm glad they're reaching out, but at the same time, it's never 5 minutes. It's never 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So the there's a couple things. So a lot of I want to say that a lot of this was a work in progress or progress. It was a process to get here. It was a work in progress. I think now we're pretty much where we need to be. But I around I want to say it was around 2023. I was like I brought in a couple of beginning of 2023. I like brought in a couple of like buyers agents to handle leads. And I learned very quickly that like talking to me first was the worst thing that they could do. Because the moment they talked to me, I was accessible and they weren't going to accept working with anyone else. So I hired an inside sales agent. So it was hired an inside sales agent. And then what we did was we made all my phone number. I mean, you can find it, but like you got to really look. We took my phone number off of everything. My phone number's not on the signs. My phone number's not on our website. It all goes to this ISA. So they call, Heath answers it, and he's like, "Hey, this is Heath Jones with Living in South Carolina. How can I help you?" And they're like, "Oh, I want to talk to Bob." And I mean, the answer is pretty much like, "Yes, so does everybody." So like, how can I help you? Like, it's like that's not the script, but he's like, "Yeah, we understand. Bob owns our business, and like he's the face of all of our marketing, so it's very common to want to speak to him. But we have a great team of agents that can help you, and then I can help you with any questions before we hand you off to an agent or anything like that. If they're not willing to have that conversation, then we just don't serve them.
Okay.
It's like because like in all honesty, like it, there's a little bit of the falling through the cracks. So they're like, "Oh, I trust Bob," and if people say I trust Bob, it's like, yeah, well, Bob's responsible for every single hire into our business. So like, if they've come to work with us, it's because Bob picked them. So it's an extension of him anyways. But if people are too pushy on that, like, I mean, to be frank, that shit's kind of stalkerish. So it's like I don't really want to work with them. Like if they're too adamant about wanting to just work
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
A good program to have. What Bob said's 100% what we've gone through on my end because everybody wants to call and talk to me, and then after they've talked to me, maybe they won't even use us, and it's not because they got what they wanted, which was to talk to me, and it's like. I mean, literally had arguments with people because they're like, "Oh, I want to buy a duplex in Austin for under 400K." I'm like, "And what planet?" And they're, "Oh, what do you mean, Jeremy? You're just a liar." I'm like, "Well, you called me and told me what you want. Like, I remember this conversation vividly. And I basically told the guy to kick rocks. I'm like, look, man, I'm not the realtor for you if you think we're going to get duplex in Austin that doesn't need work under 400K. Um, it, so CallRail is a really good system for that because if they leave a message, basically you can hear the message. The other is use your Calendly, and with your Calendly, like hey, if you want to reach out to us, the Calendly will take them through and you can put in a bunch of questions to have them pre-answer. And then that way you figure out like, oh, this person's crazy or not. And then you'll have an assistant or another agent call them and set up an appointment. So what Bob says 100%, that's exactly what we do. I have not talked to one single client in 4 years other than personal clients of mine.
So,
Okay.
and every now and again, people will find my email. I mean, it's not that hard. Like the email that everything goes to is info@livinginsc. Anybody with half a brain's like, Bob's is probably Bob at Living in SC, and it is. So it's like I get emails from some people. Some people will dig deep and find my phone number. I have a rule. A lot of realtors would scoff at this, but if I don't know the number and you call me, you will leave a message. And if you do not leave a message, you do not talk to me. But if I get a voicemail, if I get a text, or I get an email, if it's a voicemail or a text, they will get a text response from me, putting them in a group chat with Heath, our ISA, and be like, hey, thanks so much for reaching out, want to work with Living in SC. And I also kind of push them to that narrative of like, hey, thanks for reaching out to work with Living in SC. I don't say thanks for reaching out to work with me. Like you reached out to work with us. So like, thanks for reaching out. I'm connecting with Heath, and like we call him to client facing, we call him a client concierge. So like connecting you with our client concierge, he's gonna, have a conversation with you, make sure we're a good fit, and then we'll go from there. And then email, I just forward it to Heath, and I'm like, hey, deal with this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So one way too, like that's fantastic. I mean, what you're doing is fantastic. I agree. If you get a call, right? I just need to talk to you for 5 minutes because this happens to me too. People find my phone number, whatever. I immediately say, I'm really, really sorry. I want to take your call. I am actually in a meeting right now. Do you mind? Can you text me your email address and we'll send you an email? And legitimately, that email comes out as all of those questions and whoever it's going to be, the buyer's agent or whoever. And so when they answer that, then we know exactly so I will not even take a call. So if I happen to pick up, right, I'm like, oh man, I'm really, really sorry. I could be doing nothing. I could be on the couch watching TV, eating cereal. Doesn't matter. I am not taking your call. It's for all the same reasons, because they want to talk, take up your time. And at least if they've started the process and filled out that, they've already started to commit to you, right? If you start answering their questions, you're just Google to them. You're AI.
Mhm.
So
That's what I'm finding. And I started to do what you talked about, which is I'm using open phone. I've got a VA that's helping me with it. And anything that's coming in is going through that. And I'm having them send out the questionnaire. It's funny, they are completing it, but after they complete the questionnaire and we read it, then they're sent a link to go ahead and book, but then they didn't book.
yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
okay, I took the
and
time to do the questionnaire, but not book the appointment.
we have certain like questions that we ask too, to where like uh if somebody puts an objection up, like they talk to Heath and they object to like, oh, I want to talk to Bob. Like Heath's question back is like, hey, listen, have you ever like worked with an agent and had a bad experience? And they're like, yeah. He's like, okay, great. If I connect you with Bob, you're gonna have a bad experience because he's busy. And like and he's like, my job, like we have everybody within our organization has roles. He's like, my job is to be able to make sure you have this first conversation, you have it in a timely manner, so that you're not like, so that your experience isn't bad. And then based on our conversation, I'm going to connect you with the best person to be able to serve you so that you have a good experience. Is that something that you want? So then everybody after that is like, well, of course I want a good experience. And it's like, okay, cool. Like if you want to work with us, like this is how we operate, and if it's like, hey, I just want to work with Bob, I can connect you and you might not hear back for like 2 weeks and then you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're, when you ask those questions about like, hey, what's like, have you had this bad experience? Do you want to have a bad experience again? Like, and we're not saying that Bob's bad at servicing deals. It's just that that's not his job. So like it's not his job to deal with these leads. Now, for a lot of people on the call, like it may be like that is your job, but then what you can frame it is like, hey, it's not Tammy's job to vet the leads. It's not Tammy's job to make sure that the leads are legitimate because we, as you can imagine, you called us off of our content. We get numerous of these calls every single day, but Tammy also has meetings. She has to handle negotiations. She has to advise her current clients. And if she spent all day dealing with the inbound contacts that we have, those clients would not have a good experience. So that's why my role exists, to make sure that you don't have a bad experience once you've actually hired Tammy to serve you. And
Awesome.
normally that's going to squash things for people.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, we're cresting over 11 o'clock Central Time here. Bob has got to go eat lunch. He's got seafood to go eat right now because, you know, he's in South Carolina. That's all they do is eat seafood. What kind of seafood do you eat over there?
Brother, I'm allergic to shellfish, so that's
I know. That's why it was a joke.
funniest
All
thing.
right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Follow Bob if you're not following him. And big shout out to him. We appreciate y'all. Next week, great content coming up next week. Make sure you follow if you haven't followed. All the replays get put on YouTube right after this. So look for that tomorrow on the Agent Tactics YouTube channel. Thank you, Bob Tompkins.